The knife is back for the Dallas Mavericks tonight as he tries to help the Mavericks snap their 4-game losing streak. We'll get you ready for tonight's game. All coming up next here on the Dallas Mavs pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, Dlls Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are Dlls Mavs, your favorite guys, covering your favorite team, injury or not, every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports.
Injuries.
Or plural injuries. At Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. If you want to get at him on X, you can find me at Kevin Gray Sports as well. You can always dial up the Stein line for our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, at the Stein line. It's game night for your Dallas Mavericks as they are on the road in Memphis to take on the Ja Morant-less Memphis Grizzlies tonight. We'll get you ready here over the next half hour about tonight's game. Of course, the big news coming into tonight for your Dallas Mavericks that was reported earlier by ESPN. Kyrie Irving going to be missing the next 1 to 2 weeks. He is dealing with a bulging disc in his back. So unfortunately, no Kyrie Irving tonight. The Mavericks do get back Naji Marshall as he is returning from his 4-game suspension. That is how we kick off our pregame show here. Game number 36 for your Dallas Mavericks on the season. That much closer to the official halfway point games-wise for your Mavericks this season. Tip-off at 7 p.m. as they take on Memphis tonight. Dallas, of course, 20-15 on the season, 10-9 away from the American Airlines Center. Memphis so far this year, 23-13 overall, 14-4 at home. Grizzlies 4.5-point favorites coming into tonight's game with the over-under being at 231 and a half. I see you in there, Ben. I see you, Luke. I see you also, Ronald, in there in the chat as well. But, gentlemen, the lead story coming into tonight's game, we're going to try to have some fun as much as we can. What is Ben saying, by the way? What is
Ben said we need to stream you watching wrestling.
Oh, Ben knows what's up. Ben knows what's up. Yeah, the Monday Night Raw debut on Netflix is tonight.
I mean, Kevin was griping not 5
Not
seconds.
5 minutes ago. Not even 5 minutes ago.
Like, we were having our countdown. Tanner was like, hey, we're about to go live. And we're like, Kevin, you got to stop talking about this. We're about to go live.
I mean, to keep it 100 with you, because I would much rather be watching Monday Night Netflix as far as Monday Night Raw is concerned. But I got a job to do, and I'm going to do it here for y'all.
That's right.
Because I love y'all. And more importantly, my wife and my daughter like nice things, so I got to do my job. So let's talk about tonight's game because, unfortunately, the lead story is Kyrie Irving missing tonight's game and what has become a difficult season on the injury front. We had our emergency podcast earlier. We encourage you to check that out on our DLS Sports YouTube page and also wherever you get your podcasts for free, as well as we discussed what is next, Tim Cato, for this Mavericks team, given the fact they're already missing their main superstar and Luka Doncic. Now they got to go at it without their secondary one in Kyrie Irving.
Well, let's put it this way. What if we were MMPS? And right now we'd be saying, oh, man, this sucks. Ja Morant's out. Luke Kennard, he's questionable. I have not actually. Santi Aldama's out. Desmond Bane is out. Vince Williams and Gigi Jackson, they're still coming back from injuries.
Marcus Smart's
also out. I'm just saying.
Flower Mound's own Marcus Smart.
This is a team that has a lot of injuries as well. This is one of those opportunities that comes up. When you are missing Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, you're not going to have a chance to win every game. You go up against the Cleveland Cavaliers like they did 2 days ago, you're going to lose that game. There's not really, you're losing that game. There was no pathway. Like, the pathway for Dallas beating the Cleveland Cavaliers under the state they were in was the Cleveland Cavaliers miss every wide open three-pointer. Like, every single one. You can go beat the Memphis Grizzlies. And as the stakes rise on how much a win means, in any individual night, you have to be very pragmatic, and you have to look at the win, or you have to look at the game ahead of you. You got to look at the matchup. You got to look at how good that team is. Memphis is gettable tonight in this specific context. Dallas hasn't played in 2 days. They don't have Kyrie. They don't have Luka, but they have a healthy roster outside of that. This is one of those moments where this might decide whether you make the playoffs or not, the play-in tournament or not.
Are you calling this a must-win game tonight, Tim Cato? Is that what you're doing?
I'm saying that there are wins, there are games that rise to a level of must-winnedness.
Okay, all right.
That's a word.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a common word. It's in our lexicon.
Okay.
There are games that rise to a level of importance, and I think this is one of them. This is one that you can go get.
Yeah, it's important because it's a game that they can win. And
Sure.
like on the emergency show, we were like, dude, you look at their schedule for the next month, and there's 3 or 4 games against teams that are bad. You know, that's it. The rest of your games aren't just against teams that are good. They're against, like, the Thunder are your easiest game somehow. Like, this is a very, very tough stretch of schedule. And so a game like tonight where you have sort of a rest advantage, you know, you're fresh, you got another game tomorrow that's going to be tougher than this one. This is the kind of game that if you win, it would repair the vibes. It would make everybody feel good. But also, more importantly, it's not just results-based, right? Like, if the Mavs are win tonight, it will be because guys played well. And not just like Quentin Grimes had a good game and P.J. Washington made like 3 threes. It means that every single game they win from now until the time Luka and Kyrie come back will be because one of the 2 bigs played great, or maybe both. Clay had a really good game. Naji had a good game. PJ had a good game. 2 of the 3 guards in the rotation had a good game. Brandon Williams or Jace Goatman off the bench had a good game. Like, it's going to need to be one of those, like,
Everyone.
7 guys scored in double figures kind
Yes.
of thing for the rest of the season at this point. You know, like, this is how it's going to have to be. Now, I say that, and then tonight Grimes will go for 50 or something in the match. But, like, it's not going to be one dude having a great game. It's going to be because 4 or 5 guys ball out. And on a night like tonight where they're missing a ton of starters and, you know, a lot of their top 8 or top 10 or whatever, the Mavs positionally, like, as you work your way down the depth chart, have some advantages. You know, I think Jaren Jackson's the best player in this game. I'm not so sure that the second best player isn't a Mav, you know, or maybe even the third best player. So we'll see. We'll see. Well, this is a good test of their mettle tonight.
I think there's 8 winnable games in January, which when you flip that around, that means there's 14 games in January left remaining. That means there's 6 games they're just going to lose based off their injury. You know, if Kyrie gets back at the end of the month, maybe you look at a game like, that's the thing. Like the games at the end of the month are like versus Boston. Even if Kyrie's available for that, I don't expect them, you know, at OKC. But I think they have a chance tonight. I think they have a chance on the 9th against Portland.
If they play that game.
The 9th against Portland? Because of snow?
There's some weird forecast, man.
I mean, that would be a benefit. Oh, my God. It gets rescheduled for
We can't play until April. Oh, no. What a bummer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Portland's already shut down Anthony Simons for the season, not because they're tanking, but because he's clearly got an injury.
Eric Johnson, do one right
That
thing
is
in
the
your
running
life.
bit at Portland every year, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they got a chance at New Orleans, at Charlotte, versus Minnesota. Maybe.
Whoa, can I
Versus
read the starting,
Washington
can I read the
and
starting
at
lineup?
New Orleans.
Oh, you got the starting lineup already?
I want y'all's reaction to this.
Okay.
Starting lineup for the Mavs. I'll start from the center.
All right.
Derek Lively.
Good.
Okay.
Maxi Kleba.
All right.
Not surprising.
PJ Washington.
Not
Okay.
surprising.
Clay Thompson.
Not surprising.
The Knife.
Oh.
No
Oh.
Dinwiddie, no Hardy, no Grimes in the
So
starting lineup.
Naji Marshall is your quote-unquote point guard tonight? Okay.
Your shortest starter. How tall is Naji? 6'6", 6'7"?
6'6", 6'7", yeah.
So it's either him or Clay. That's your shortest starter.
I mean,
That's
you're
a
going up
big
against Jaren
lineup.
Jackson
That's
Jr.
probably the
and
tallest
Zach
lineup in
Edey.
Mavs history, if I had to guess.
You think so?
Tallest starting 5?
It might be.
I would think. They had some like Luka Tim, KP, Maxi. I don't know. Who cares?
Well, I'm instantly intrigued all of a sudden after hearing that because Naji is the point forward. You got Clay, you got Maxi, you got PJ, and then Derek Lively as your 5. That's kind of intriguing. I'm not going to lie to you. I think one of the things that we are hoping with Naji Marshall being back is some of that playmaking that he's been capable of, that herky-jerky style that he has, and what that means for him running this offense. It's gonna look a little funky tonight at times.
Though. Oh my God.
Luke pops in. Like, literally, Memphis is starting Scottie Pippen Jr., John Conchar, Jalen Wells, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Zach Edey. You should go win tonight. I'm not joking. Go win. Like, what?
Now I kind of wish there was like Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively starting against the other two bigs, like Jackson versus Edey and Gafford versus Lively.
We'll see.
that might be interesting as well.
If Jaren Jackson gets in foul trouble, the Mavs will usually have at least 2 of the 3 best players on the court tonight.
Yeah.
But every second that Jackson's on the floor, he will be the best player in the game. And that's a problem that the Mavs are not used to facing. The Mavs are used to having the best player on the court.
I think Derek Lively is going to take his first 3 tonight.
Let's go.
I mean, again, what the hell? Why not?
Like,
might as well try everything.
Gafford too, man.
Naji the point forward, Derek
you don't
Lively
want Gafford
taking
doing
threes. Like, why not? Let's just see some fun stuff tonight as the Mavericks.
Like, I'm not sure I believe that, but like, maybe.
I mean, why not? I mean, Jaren Jackson gonna be jacking up threes tonight. Why not Derek Lively take a 3 or 2?
Zach Edey shoots threes.
Yeah, I don't know if I like Zach.
Lucas, why start
He shoots like
Maxey?
45%.
Yeah.
I think Maxey's starting because he's just got more size than PJ. Like,
Yeah.
PJ's on Jackson. That's just a tough matchup for PJ.
Sure.
And then I don't necessarily want Lively out there chasing Jackson around, like, because then he's far away from the rim. You want
That
him
might
on
be a
Edey.
foul fest tonight between Lively and Edey.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Gracious.
tough, man. That's gonna be tough. Like, it's oof.
The Mavericks, of course, trying to break their 4-game losing streak. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games. They're on the first night of a road home back-to-back. They'll be back at home tomorrow when they take on LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Mavericks, of course, will begin a 4-game homestand tomorrow as well when they return home to take on the Lakers. Unfortunately, the Mavericks so far this year 0-3 without Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving on the floor together at the same time. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies, 3rd in the Western Conference. They're just 5-5 in their last 10 games themselves, and on 2-game losing streak. They've got back-to-back losses to Sacramento and the Golden State Warriors, where it was a turnover fest for the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll get to a little bit of that a little bit later on in our X Factors. But Memphis is playing tonight. Then they're at home again on Thursday. I know it's been Bobby's favorite bit this year. Everybody has rest except for the Mavericks. Memphis plays tonight. Then they won't play again on Thursday until they play against the Houston Rockets before they begin a 4-game road trip themselves. Grizzlies just 8-9 this year against teams above 500. They are, in fact, though, 9-7 so far this year without Ja Morant in the lineup, which gets us to Bobby Carella's scouting report as the Carella Trader lets us know how the Mavericks need to be aggressive tonight against this Memphis Grizzlies defense.
So, you know how normally we say it's a battle between an unstoppable force and an immovable object?
Stoppable.
Tonight
movable.
is a very stoppable force against a very movable object, because over the last 4 games, your Dallas Mavs, 28th in offensive rating. But those Memphis Grizzlies, 28th in defensive rating, conceding 120.4 points per 100 possessions over the last 4 games. They are 1-3 during that time. They've been going through it because they're very banged up. Their starting lineup is going to be down Desmond Bane, so you figure, okay, that might make him a little better or a little taller, at least defensively, but certainly not better offensively. Now, the Mavs played the Grizzlies very shorthanded a couple times last season, and what they did, Jaren Jackson played in those games, but Ja Morant didn't, and Luka and Kyrie, I think, were both out in one of those games. So what the Mavs did is they went to just a ton of dribble handoffs to try and pull Jackson away from the rim. And it really didn't work because Jackson has the agility to cover handoffs on the perimeter and still hightail it back to the rim and contest shots. Or he can just sag way below all that stuff and say, if you want to, Jaden Hardy, if you want to step into a 20-footer or you want to kick it out to Dwight Powell for 3, I don't care. Like, that's fine. You definitely can't do that against this Grizzlies team because even though they have, like, a defensive rating that's too, like, bad to even believe, they got Jackson and Zach Edey. So even if you yank one of them away from the rim, the other one is going to be there. So we've said before, we talked about it whenever they played the Clippers, I think without Luka and Kyrie, they ran their most dribble handoffs all season because they wanted to yank Zubats away. They wanted to create driving lanes for their less skilled players, guys that are maybe, not as tight with their handle, or they don't have as much burst or not as many moves or whatever. That's not going to work tonight. Like, you have to make those in-between 15, 18-footers if you're going to go to those dribble handoffs. And Naji's good at that. Hardy can be good at that. Grimes can be good at that. So if you are going to run that kind of offense, those guys have to be ready to take 18-footers. Otherwise, we are going to see a lot of possessions that go like 22.5 seconds without anything substantial happening.
And I think so. When I made the prediction, I hadn't fully thought it out. It was based off something I hadn't quite identified. If you're not starting a true point guard, but you're going to run a lot of dribble handoffs, it makes sense that within the first few possessions, you tell Derek Lively to be like, "Hey, if they're sagging off of you, let's pop one.
Yeah,
let's see.
Let's
just see."
Yeah,
because again, you don't have Spencer Dinwiddie or Quentin Grimes out there. You have Naji Marshall. That's your nominal point guard. And so what do you lose if you spend one possession just seeing if you can make it and seeing if you can get Zach Edey to take another step towards Derek Lively? That makes sense to me.
First play of the game should be a play ran for Derek Lively to take a three-pointer.
Post up?
No. Derek Lively.
PJ post up Zach Edey. Would watch.
Bleep, no.
But
not at all.
I mean, he's going to be guarded by Jackson and all. Maybe it is Jalen Wells on him.
You might stick Jackson on Maxey and just roam.
Yeah. And in that case, I don't mind PJ posting up Jalen Wells.
Or you might put
Jalen
Edey on Maxey.
Who?
Edey on Maxey.
Edey on Maxey.
Jackson on Lively. And
that actually makes way more sense. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it.
Yeah.
But I think Jackson will sag off, so why not?
Yeah.
Before we get to Bobby's sleeper play of the evening, the Mavericks are playing their second game of the season against the Grizzlies. Of course, the Mavericks 1-0 against Memphis so far this year after their 15-point comeback in that fourth quarter at the American Airlines Center back on December 3rd, where they won 121-116. Luka had 37 that night. Derek Lively was a monster, had 17 and 11 that night as well. Memphis will play Dallas again in Dallas coming up on March the 7th. So that gives you a little bit of the preview for tonight's game. We'll get into some X factors, who's in and who's out, and who needs to step up in our Mavericks player spotlight a little bit later on. But before we get there, let's talk to you a little bit about Sleeper.
Sleeper, promo code DLS Mavs, deposit $5 and you get $55 to play with. And I decided to make a play tonight because, hey, this one's for the dreamers. All right, this is for the folks that never give up hope. I'm taking Jalen Wells for less than 16.5 points because I'm not a believer. I'm taking Quentin Grimes for more than 14.5 points, and that's before I knew he was coming off the bench, so I kind of regret that one. But you know what? It's too late to turn back.
You said he might get 50.
That's right. He might.
He dropped 20 and a quarter the other night, so.
He did. I'm taking Jaden Hardy for more than 10.5 points. I've liked Jaden the last couple games. I think he's playing well, and I think he's going to have a good game tonight. And then finally, Maxi Kleba, I think he's going to make a 3. I don't know how many he's going to make. I think he's going to make at least 1. If I was real, I'd say 2 because his multiplier on that one is like times 4 or something.
Scary money don't make money, Bobby.
That's right. Sleeper with the more you play, the more you can win. Multiply your winnings all the way up to times 100. This one tonight, a $5 play would pay out $51.10. So if you want to dream big like me and you're desperate to feel anything in these nihilistic, depressing, unprecedented times, well, hey, be like me, download Sleeper again, DLLS Mavs, deposit $5, get 55 free to play with. Easy to deposit money, even easier to withdraw after you win big.
Let's get to who's in and who's out for tonight's game as we take a look at the injury report between your Dallas Mavericks and the Memphis Grizzlies. You're going to be watching this game on television. You can watch it on KFAA Channel 29, and of course, with Mavericks TV as well. For the Grizzlies, a lengthy injury report for them. Santi Aldama, he's out with a left ankle sprain. Desmond Bane, he's out with a left ankle sprain as well. Gigi Jackson's dealing with a broken right toe. Ja Morant is out. He's dealing with a right AC joint sprain. Marcus Smart is also out. He's got a broken right index finger. Vince Williams Jr. is also out. He's dealing with a right ankle sprain himself, but available tonight for Memphis, Luke Kennard, he has been dealing with some right hamstring soreness, and Yuki Kawamura, he is available. He's dealing with a left AC joint sprain himself. You know what it is for the Mavericks, unfortunately. Luka Doncic out tonight with, of course, the left calf strain. Kyrie Irving dealing with the bulging disc in his back. Dante Exum remains out with his right wrist injury. So lengthy injury reports for both teams, and significant ones, obviously, for the Mavericks, which gets us to our Mavericks player spotlight on the evening. Let's focus in on the aforementioned P.J. Washington, who's going to be in a big starting lineup tonight for your Dallas Mavericks in their first game in Memphis against Memphis in Dallas, I should say. Washington stuffed the stat sheet that night, and it was part of that 15-point comeback that the Mavericks had in that fourth quarter. 18 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Went 4 of 6 from downtown. Did PJ Washington in that game? He's got to be big in both ends of the floor tonight and be the do-everything guy for the Dallas Mavericks as the Mavericks gentlemen look to snap their 4-game losing streak.
I mean, PJ Washington can make a case that, outside of Jaren Jackson, who's having a great season, he's the best player on the court. Like, tell me who's better. Like PJ Washington, we've talked about how he has made a case at times at his best that he's a top 50 player in the NBA. He's not quite that. But this is a top 75 guy. This is the guy who should be a starter on a role player. Sorry. Oh, my goodness. A starting role player on a contender. This is a player that is supposed to go out there. And, yes, his game doesn't scale necessarily to just being, a superstar, like a star player, a star offensive player when Luka and Kyrie are out. But go be good. Go step up, and we've seen moments from PJ Washington, but I do think Dallas in a lot of ways kind of starts there. Like there isn't a real point guard on the court to start this lineup. When you, Bobby, were like, oh, let me read this lineup, I was expecting you to say like Brandon Williams is starting. No, there is not a point guard on the court,
which means their entire bench is like 6'2" guys.
Yeah.
So Jason Kidd's really doing a bit tonight, a really interesting bit. Play all the big guys in the starting lineup, all the small guys come off the bench.
I don't think he's doing bits.
If I had to guess, here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that all the guards are going to get in at some point, and whichever one of them is the hottest, is shooting the best or whatever, is going to start the second half and play a bunch. But right now, Grimes had a pretty good game.
He had a very good game.
Yeah. Hardy, couple pretty good games. Dinwiddie, couple pretty bad games. Brandon Williams, he's fine. Goatman, struggling a little bit. Let's see who's got it. Who wants to start? Who wants the starting job for the well, I mean, like maybe moving forward. Like, who wants to be the starting one and the starting two for this team for the next 1 to 2 weeks?
Will the first substitution for the Dallas Mavericks tonight come before or after the 8:30 mark of the first quarter?
Ooh, it'll come after. We're talking about 3.5 minutes into the game.
But if it looks that bad for a few possessions,
Naji's not gonna make it look that bad for 3.5 minutes. Like if it's that bad in 3.5 minutes, we got a real problem.
What if I said? The 7:45 mark
Before?
I think for sure before.
I don't know. Maybe Memphis isn't. I think he's gonna
get. I think he's gonna let Naji Marshall have it for about 5 minutes. I think we'll see for the first
he's
5.
back from injury. What if he doesn't have it either?
He's not injury suspension.
Yeah, he should be fresh and ready to go.
The only thing hurting was his pocketbook, but apparently Kyrie picked that up.
Yeah, Naji
not
should be
knuckles?
fresh.
I guess he didn't make good contact.
No, he didn't. He's innocent.
Yeah,
free Naji.
He's freed.
He's freed now.
He's freed.
Oh,
he's ready to play tonight.
At the American Airlines Center on Friday night, I saw a free Naji sign.
As there should be.
Yeah,
we should be rioting.
Well, guess what?
I wish it was somebody who had printed out just a screenshot of him saying I'm innocent. But
look with the
power of my sign. I can't be choosy.
I'm sure we can definitely find it. That gets us to our X factors though, and let's start with the aforementioned Naji Marshall. Welcome back to the knife for the Dallas Mavericks. He's going to be your starting point guard tonight, apparently, for your Dallas Mavericks in 26 games. This season.
To me, it's Derek Lively.
Of course, it is, Tim. In 26 games this season, Naji Marshall shooting nearly 53% from the field, scoring nearly 11 points per game. His playmaking and defense is going to be on full display tonight, and we'll have a chance to really do some creative things. We'll see on the offensive end. But Bobby's been sorely missed, obviously, not just with the mojo that he brings, the herky-jerky nature to his game, but he's just a fun player to watch and has really ingratiated himself, not just to the organization, but obviously on the floor and the way that he has played. Naji Marshall's been sorely missed, and glad to see him back on the floor tonight.
Yeah, they need guys that can dribble the ball. I mean, it's like, again, without Luka and Kyrie, like you literally need a guy that can dribble the ball, get you into the offense, do something. Hardy was a godsend when he checked in against Houston because he could just dribble. Like he could just do something with it, and the Grizzlies tonight, this team we're seeing right now, is not a very good defense. When they're healthy, they are. The Mavs play them again at some point. Mavs are about to play a whole lot of good defenses. Like they need a guy that can dribble. So Naji, I hope you're ready to bounce that ball, man.
Shout out to Sarah. She says, I have free Naji bracelets for anyone who wants one.
Let's go.
Shout out to you, Sarah. I want to see what those look like. That's pretty cool. Let's get to our second X factor for tonight's game. We talked about him just a second ago as well. Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes, who had a big third quarter in the game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, really kept the Mavericks as close as he possibly could in a game where the Cleveland Cavaliers were able to really control the game. But, I mean, Quentin Grimes in that third quarter had 20 points. He scored or assisted on 28 of the 32 points that the Mavericks scored in that third quarter, where they actually outscored the Cavaliers 32-31 in that period. Tim Cato, can Quentin Grimes come up big again tonight, because they're going to need him coming off the bench, given the lineup the Mavericks are running out there tonight?
Cleveland's a pretty good defensive team. They don't have elite defensive wing stoppers. They couldn't contain him off the dribble. They couldn't keep him out of the paint. And he was very decisive about it. This was a performance where he hit, 1 of 4, 1 of 5 on threes. Obviously had that one pull-up in the third, but this was not a performance. This was not a game where he just got hot. Like, this was Quentin Grimes saying, I'm going to get to the rim and you cannot stop me. And there is a snowball effect when you have that type of confidence, when you get to the rim a couple times, and then you realize that, no, they literally can't stop me. Like, I'm just going to keep doing this. There's one moment where he hit a, kind of a fadeaway, floating pull-up 2 in the paint. But this was a really impressive, a very nice performance from Quentin Grimes against Cleveland. There isn't really any wing stoppers out there. Now, there's rim protectors, but there's rim protectors on Cleveland. That's kind of like the core of their team. They've got 2 of those guys, down there in the paint, more times than not. So I would like to see Quentin Grimes, see if he can be someone who initiates offense. I would like to see him not be, and this is changing his role a little bit. Jason Kidd talks a lot about how he wants players mostly to stick in the role that, they're going to be in. But right now, with 2 weeks without Kyrie and still a month without Luka, Quentin Grimes has to play a slightly different role than the role you want him, like the ideal role that he's going to fill once the team is entirely healthy. And so I would like to see him get the ball, not every time, not force it, but see if you can go get 2 feet in the paint. See what happens if that, if the defense, if the situation allows for it, go get 2 feet in the paint. Go try to score. I don't want to see a passive Quentin Grimes. And if it doesn't work for a few possessions, then sure. I don't want him to force it. He's not the number one option in this game per se. But I do want to see him very aggressive. I do want to see if he can replicate some of what he did against Cleveland.
He's going to have to, because it's like a blessing and a curse. You can tell me, do you think it's half empty or half full to view it this way? Without Luka and without Kyrie, nobody on this team is going to be double teamed, which means they're never going to, maybe Clay coming off a screen if he starts getting hot, but they're going to be able to go one-on-one all the time. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? The good thing is if a guy's cooking, they're going to let him cook.
Sure.
No defense in the NBA is going to overreact to Quentin Grimes unless he's like truly unholy, like going for 70 or something.
Cleveland didn't do it in that third quarter.
Yeah, and he scored 28 or scored 20 and had assists.
Yeah.
The good thing is they can cook. The bad thing is you're going to have to prove it over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to take guys one-on-one, but it means you're going to have to be able to take guys one-on-one. Yeah. You're going to have to win that individual battle over and over and over again. You can't just make 2 or 3 shots in a row, strike the fear of God into the hearts of the opposing head coach, and then just cheese a bunch of open assists for threes.
Sure.
Like, you have to find something and make something happen every time. So that's why that's why guys that can dribble are so important, because they can at least do something with the ball other than just catch and shoot.
That gets us to our final X factor for tonight's game before we get out of here, and that's to turn the Grizzlies over. The Grizzlies are second worst in the NBA this year in turnovers per game. In fact, in the last loss to the Golden State Warriors, they had 23 turnovers in that game alone. That led to 28 Warriors points off of those 23 turnovers. So if you're Dallas, defense, turn Memphis over, get yourself some easy buckets in transition to make things a little bit easier on yourself tonight, where offense may be a little bit more difficult to come by, because the Grizzlies are willing to turn the ball over to you if you're willing to take it from them. We have got a lot to look forward to with a very interesting starting lineup tonight for the Dallas Mavericks, the return of Naji Marshall as well, and more importantly, the Mavericks trying to get a W in the win column, desperately needing to do that, having lost 4 straight games, looking to avoid a season-high 5-game losing streak. We'll be back here on our post-game show 15 minutes after tonight's game is over with, right here on Dlls Sports, we'll be joined by our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, as well. He will have the latest when it comes to Kyrie Irving and his injury as well. And also, you can check out our emergency podcast that we had earlier today on Dlls Sports as well, detailing Kyrie Irving's injury as well.
More 3PA tonight. Lively or Maxey?
Lively, why not?
Let's go! Come on!
Why not?
More 3P as long as Maxey makes at least 1 3.
Unless also actually gets the one that you need for sure. So join us.
I didn't say Lively was going to make his first 3 tonight. I said he was going to take his
I
first
want him
3
to take
tonight.
10. Who cares? Who
I
cares?
Why
think
not?
Dallas can win this game, so I may
Zach
care.
Edey, I'm dragging your ass all the way out here. I'm going to stick one right in your eye, bud.
And y'all be cool and let me know what's going on with Raw on Netflix. And I really appreciate y'all who's shouting it out in the chat as well. Y'all let me know what's going on. Oh, is that the free Naji bracelet? Shout out to Sarah. Okay.
Let's go.
Apparently that's in our member-only Discord. So become a diehard member so you can go see Sarah's free Naji bracelets in our member-only Discord. So shout out to you,
so
Sarah.
Sick.
That's really cool. That's cool. For Bobby Corella, that's Tim Cato. I'm Kevin Gray. We'll be back here 15 minutes post-game right here on DLLS Mavs. We'll be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.